Right, welcome everybody to Spinning Your Web, leveraging MTSU's resources during your job search. We're going to connect with you over the next hour. Here's just some logistics. If you can, please ask questions in the Q&A box on the bottom. You're also welcome to upvote the ones that you identify with. This is meant to be interactive, so please ask whatever questions that you are interested in. All right, thank you everybody for your time in answering these questions. And right now it's my privilege to introduce Kathy Irons, who's gonna get us started.
Thanks for being here, everyone. I want to give a quick shout out to Ginger and Blair, our friends at the Alumni Association, who make this sort of programming possible for you. At the Career Development Center, we've been privileged to work very closely the past few years and look forward to more opportunities to connect. So thank you guys. So today we're going to talk about job search. Big groan from the crowd, right? It's terrible. No one enjoys doing it, and we really don't like talking about it either. And that even goes for the people that coach. We know there's a lot of difficult things involved in the job search process. You have to overcome issues such as anonymity and artificial intelligence, as well as energy, motivation, any emotional challenges you might have, and just the sheer scale. It can be overwhelming. So what I would like to do to frame our discussion today, I'm going to share a graphic that I think illustrates really well the major issue in job search for so many of our alumni and students that we speak to. What we know from employers and job search and position results is that most employers start on top of the pyramid up here, and the vast majority of positions are filled by someone that the recruiting manager knows, someone they promote from within, someone that has either been referred from a friend or a colleague, or through a trusted organizational source. And then down here at the bottom, you'll see the online job postings. And that's where job seekers typically start. And what we mean here by online job postings are the generic sites, if you will, like Monster, Career Builder, Indeed. Those sort of platforms aren't super effective. And an analogy I like to use is that if you're just sitting at home hitting the apply button for online job postings, that's kind of like fishing. And that's where the analogy of spinning your web comes in. If you think about fishing as an activity, you have a worm, you bait the hook, you cast your line, and then you stand either on the dock or sit in your boat and you wait for hours and hours for something to nibble. Oh, and it can be very unproductive. So if you think of job search in terms of spinning your web, think about how a spider shoots silks, and eventually you have a beautiful network of silks, or what I like to call human connection. And that really is the key in leveraging your time and resources. It is spinning a web using the available resources to make as many human connections as possible while being intentional. Eventually, your web is going to catch a fly. It may not be the biggest, juiciest fly you've ever had, but it will be enough to sustain you until your dream job or the next big opportunity comes along. So we're going to talk about the resources that we have to help you spin that web in job search. We will start by speaking about Handshake, our new career management platform, and then talk about Career Shift and MTSU's other new resource, MTSU Connect, as well as LinkedIn. If we have time, we'll discuss Big Interview, a virtual interview platform, and then we'll wrap up by talking about ways to keep organized and strategies to stay motivated. So without further ado, it's my privilege to turn it back over to Becca.
Thank you so much, Kathy, for your time. And I'm here today, everybody, to talk about Handshake. So Handshake is MTSU's new career management platform that is available to students and alumni. The easiest way to utilize Handshake is to go to the Career Development Center's website at mtsu.edu/career. You'll notice right here on the scrolling screen, you have opportunities to connect on Handshake, or over here on the right-hand side as well. Once you log in, this is what you will see. Now, if you're a first-time user, it will ask you a series of questions. A component of this is the opportunity for you to enhance your profile. So as alumni, if you don't have a recent MTSU email address, that's okay. Just go ahead and fill out the form and we will approve you. We'll verify that you're an MTSU graduate and we'll get you added into the system and you'll have all the same access as what we're showing you today. So this is what you will see when you log in. It's a lot of really helpful information. The first thing I would like to talk about is how to complete your profile. So many of you might be active on LinkedIn and other platforms, and really having a complete profile is very important to you as a job seeker, because this allows the computers to do matching with certain information that the employers have put in their job search. So if you go over here to your initials, that will come up on your profile, and then you click this button called My Profile. So what you'll see is a series of questions. As you can see, I do not currently have my profile up to date as a student. So you will talk about things that you're passionate about, your education. So if you have additional education aside from your experience at MTSU, you can update that. You'll also update your work and volunteer experience, many organizations or extracurriculars you may have been involved with. And if you participated in a course or a project that you think is marketable to the kind of work that you want to do, you can put that information in there as well. Other information you can include, which could be visible to employers, is what kind of work are you looking for? So know that you can also control these settings at any time. If you're updating your profile and you don't want an employer to see something, you have complete control over that. So you can change that at any time in your settings. And last but certainly not least is your ability to upload a resume. Of course, a resume is important to upload because, as I'll show you in a minute, you will have the opportunity to also apply directly for jobs through the Handshake platform. So in order to do that, you just simply go up here and go to Jobs once you feel like your profile is complete. And a lot of different jobs will come up. So one thing that's helpful that I really appreciate about Handshake is you can save jobs. It will show you certain applications. So if you have applied for jobs, it will actually keep it in the system. And one thing that we're talking about today, as Kathy mentioned, is making those connections to people to enhance your network. So by clicking on this employer tab underneath jobs, you can type in, let's say you live in the Nashville area. You just type Nashville under the location. And then for the sake of today, I'm just going to pick HCA, for example. And under HCA, one thing that's really helpful is right here on the right-hand side. So all of the companies will have this once you click through here. Right here on the right-hand side, you can see that you have a real person's contact information. So this isn't just an HR mailbox that you're logging into, but then you can choose to reach out to Ashley and connect with her to talk about opportunities at HCA and the skills that you have to offer that company. The other thing that's helpful is you can see other students who have worked at some of these organizations, as well as upcoming events if the employer has any. So let's say you want to see if any MTSU alumni are at the organization you've worked at. You simply click here, and then over here under schools, you can click Middle Tennessee State University. And you can see right now we have one student who's identified that he's worked at HCA. So then you go over here and you can message this student to see and ask some questions about HCA if you're curious about that information. The other feature that I find really helpful about Handshake is the event feature. So know that as the fall semester gets started, more opportunities are going to arise for fairs and events, and all of the Career Development Center events are open to students and alumni. So if you are a student in certain areas, your event list in the very near future will change. So you can see all of these events are currently available to MTSU students and alumni. At this time, I would like to introduce Holly, who's going to talk about Career Shift.
Sorry about that. Had to unmute myself. Hi, everyone. I'm Holly Allen. I work as a career advisor in the Career Development Center. And I'm going to talk to you about another really unique, awesome tool to use for job searching and for networking called Career Shift. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, so this is the same site that Becca just showed you on how to access Handshake. So this is our career website, and you would go to students, services, online tools for job searching, and then the pull down menu right underneath Handshake is for Career Shift. Okay, so let me just tell you what it is. Career Shift is a separate database that MTSU pays for so that students and alumni have access to it. Okay, so it's not affiliated with MTSU. Like Handshake has employers that are specifically recruiting MTSU students. Career Shift is a separate database altogether that we pay for to have access to. And it functions as an aggregator. So it is pulling job postings from all over the internet into this one database. So it's sort of a one-stop shop. So if you are going to just Google your job search or use Indeed, I would certainly use Career Shift instead, because it's going to pull from all of those big job sites, but it's also going to pull from career pages of actual companies. So all the jobs are in this one place, okay? You need to access it through this specific link because, again, because MTSU pays for it, this is going to take you directly to the MTSU sign up page, which I'll show you in a minute. And this is really an overview. We could go on and on about this, but if you want a refresher on how to use it for job searching or networking, you can click on one of these two links, and that will pop up a PDF one sheet that'll talk you through how to use it in case you need a refresher. So I'm going to click on this, and this is going to take us to, it's a little jarring to look at right in the beginning. This is our MTSU page where you sign up. You're going to scroll down. Here's the link. If you're a current student, you want to use your MTSU email address. If you are an alum, you can use any email address you want, but you want to put MTSU alumni, one word, into the group name box, and I'm going to show you where that is. So if I click on sign up, this is a sign up sheet. You're going to fill all this out. And then down here, this last box, that's if you're an alum, this is where you're going to put MTSU alumni, and then click next. And that's going to allow you to access the site for free. So I'm going to go to my account and show you what it looks like. Oops, try it out. All right, so we're on the dashboard. This is the overview for Career Shift. So the three tabs that you're going to use most often are jobs, contacts, and companies. So let's go to jobs first. We're going to talk about this real briefly. So this gives you some filters for job searching. So again, as I said, it's an aggregator. So it's going to pull from jobs all over the internet. So you can put in keywords. This isn't job titles. So if you put in, so I'm going to put in social media, let's say that's your specialty. Okay. You can search by area. Let's say you want to stay in Middle Tennessee. So we're going to go Nashville within 25 miles. Okay. And then you press search. So any job that has social media in the description anywhere is going to come up. So you can see the results. There's 222 found jobs. That might feel a little overwhelming. So I'm going to go back to my keywords. Let's say I want an entry-level position. So I'm going to put in assistant. Okay. And we're going to see what happens there. So this, excuse me, this reduces it down from over 200 to 30 jobs, okay, which feels a little more manageable. It at least gives you a place to start. You can always like broaden those filters, right? The important bit here is to look at the source. So this, like this one, it is the job title, social media assistant from iHeartRadio, and the source is iHeartRadio. So Career Shift pulled that from their website. But if you come down a couple, like this one, office manager, the source is Indeed. And we always recommend, instead of applying through Indeed, as Kathy mentioned in the beginning, that you want to visit the actual job page of the company. Apply through the company site. And you want to make sure that it's actually active and still listed on there. So that's a great tool to use for job searching. As I said, it's sort of a one-stop shop. This is a new feature on here, search remote and work from home jobs. That's added because we're in the middle of a pandemic now, and so there's more remote jobs listed. And there's also an advanced search here. So let's say you're just looking for a full-time job, you could put that in. That's probably the only one I would use in the advanced search and maybe publish within days. The other ones are probably going to limit your job search too much. Okay, so you can utilize that. This is not the real reason that we love Career Shift though. The real reason we love Career Shift is for this button, the magic button here called Contacts. And what this is going to do, again, it's an aggregator. So it's going to pull contact information from professionals that work in your industry or however you want to search by company, industry, school, and it's going to pull the contact information. So name, email address, job title, company, if their information is available in public. Okay, if it's out there on the internet, CareerShift is going to pull it into this database. Which is a great strategy. This is where your job strategy really comes in, because you're going to use this to begin making those human connections that Kathy was talking about, so that we are beginning to close that gap between, in that diagram that she just showed you, between where employers are hiring and where job seekers are starting, right? We want to try to close that gap using human connection and networking. And this is going to allow you to do that. So let's say you want to work in advertising and marketing, or at least you want to grow your network in that industry, and you want to search for people that are in your area. So we're going to go Nashville again, within 25 miles. So I want to show you what happens though. So let's press search. 5,000 contacts come up, which is way too many. That feels really overwhelming. So I always recommend that you put in Middle Tennessee State, put in your alma mater, right? It's going to come right up. And this is going to pull up alumni that work in your industry. And it's going to give you their email address. I mean, that little envelope, the icon right there, it's also listed under their name. So then you can, and this is 82 contacts, right? Much more manageable. So you just want to be intentional though about why you're reaching out. And there's really one of three reasons of why you're going to do a cold reach out. Okay. You don't know them. They don't know you. The first one is there's a job that's been posted and you have applied to it and you want to try to find the supervisor or the hiring manager to introduce yourself, express your interest, attach your resume. Okay, so that's the first reason. Second reason is maybe there's a company that you're really interested in, but there's no job posting yet. So you want to make a soft introduction and maybe start making some human connections with people at that company. And then the third reason is just more general. You want to grow your network, to begin finding out who are the other professionals that work in your industry. And so this is a great way to do that as well. So the last two, company and just more of a general search, we recommend that you ask for what's called an informational interview, just like a 20-minute career chat of tell me more about what you do and how do you have advice for me, or tell me about the company, what's your day-to-day like. And if you want more specific information about informational interviews, how to ask for one, how to prep for one, feel free to contact our office and we can give you more specific information on that. But this is really going to help you with your strategy because again, we're trying to close that gap and broaden that web that you're spinning because you never know where a job opportunity is going to come from. And then the other one, just real quick, is companies. Oftentimes you don't even know, or let's say you're moving to a new area and you don't know what companies exist that are in your industry. This is a great tool to use just to search in your industry and companies will pop up. Cool. And then you can save too as you go along. And then these folders over here, if you save anything, it's a great way to organize your information. You can just access those folders and that's where all your saved info will be. Any questions? Okay, if not, I'm going to pass it along to Blair, who is going to talk to you about MTSU Connect.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Holly.
Oh, let me get out a screen share.
Okay.
There we go.
Awesome. So I hope you can hear me all right. Perfect. I got booted out earlier, so hopefully my internet doesn't fail me yet again, but we'll go ahead and proceed. One of the other resources that we want to share with you today is MTSU Connect. MTSU Connect is a great online resource. It's a community that is exclusive to Blue Raiders, so it's only open to MTSU students, alumni, faculty, and staff. And Holly talked a little bit about intentionality, and so this is where you can be even more intentional with your job search and cultivating your network. So these individuals or community members, as we like to call them, have opted in to joining MTSU Connect. So anyone in our community is willing or invited to join, but only members who have opted in are visible on the platform. And so I would say that if you're searching or you're looking to expand your network in any capacity or looking for advice or you want to share advice, this is a great way to do that and to help students and alumni in whatever capacity you can provide. So first and foremost, this is the main site. You can find it via mtalumni.com, and it's right off the main page. It's a link to MTSU Connect. And so what you would do is if you are not a member, you would click join our community. If you're a student or faculty staff member, we recommend that you use your MTSU login so that you can use your MTSU email address and password. If you are an alum, you can also use your MTSU email if you have one, or you can use just a generic general personal email or your LinkedIn profile. Through the sign-up process, I will mention that it does take a couple of minutes. It is cultivating and creating a profile for you based on the information that you provide. And then also the platform will make recommendations in terms of connections on the platform. So the more time you spend getting your profile set up, the kind of the bigger benefit you will see. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in to my account so you can see what it looks like. I will note that different users are going to see a little bit different homepage, and they will have a couple of different types of functionalities. So if you are a faculty staff member who's also an alumni or you're taking current classes, I would suggest that you sign up as an alumni user or a student user, whichever applies to you, because alums and students have more functionality than faculty staff. So there are a couple of different ways that you can use MTSU Connect. The first way that I would suggest is looking at Explore the Community. So as we mentioned, these are community members have opted in to join MTSU Connect, and this is how you can find them. So there are a bunch of different tabs up here and filters that you can use to narrow your search. So let's say I'm a recent grad, and I want to connect with an alum to find out, a little bit about their story, where they started and where they are now and how they got there. Well, there are, a couple thousand people on this platform. So how do I narrow it down? Well, one of the easiest ways that I would suggest doing that is looking at the filters. The first thing that, let's say I'm a student and I'm looking to relocate. So I'm going to pick relocating as my help topic. And I'm going to narrow my search a little bit. So I have now 248 people that have mentioned that that's a help topic that they're willing to help someone with. Now let's say I'm looking to relocate to California. So I'm going to narrow my search even more. And this is going to bring up a more refined search. So there are 13 people that match this. But let's say in addition to that, I want to narrow it down even more. And maybe I studied in the College of Media and Entertainment. So I'm looking for someone who lives in California, has relocated, has experience doing that, and maybe they studied in the College of Media and Entertainment like I did. So there are 4 people with exact matches here, one of which, Charles, is actually online right now, and you can chat with him. But maybe Becca looks like the best person for me to connect with because she's a reporter and editor, and I'm kind of interested in that. So I can explore her profile a little bit deeper, find out more about her. So I say here, oh, she got a master's degree, but I don't know what it's in. So maybe I want to reach out to Becca and find out more. So I can message her directly on the platform, and I don't have to share my personal contact information with her. All the messaging goes through this platform. I can start by creating my own email or message to her, or I can use one of the templates here. So I could click a template and I could say, hi, Becca, I am a recent grad from MTSU. I see that you studied in the College of Media and Entertainment, as did I, and I'm looking to relocate to California. Could you tell me a little bit more about your story? Then you can send the message here and you can connect. I will say that another thing that you can do is you can request a meeting, and this would be a one-on-one, either phone call or video meeting. And both of those things would happen through the platform, so you do not need to exchange personal information. So it's a great way to protect your anonymity while you're meeting and sharing new people. So I would suggest requesting a meeting after you've exchanged a few messages and you build good rapport with someone. Let's cancel this message because I don't really want to reach out to her. So another great feature is the discussion board. And on the discussion board, you can either post a question or you can respond to a question. And this is a great way to solicit feedback from multiple people. So let's say you don't find someone who's an exact match on your search in the Explore the Community field or tab, or you want to hear from multiple different people. You can post a question. And if you're concerned about the question, you can post it anonymously if you prefer. So that's a great feature. And then the other thing that I want to point out is the Opportunities tab. This Opportunities tab is a job board. It does pull from Handshake. So the 200 most recent positions on Handshake will be listed here. You can sort them with the filters, and you can click Visit Handshake to expand your search. What I would like to point out is if you are an alumni user, you will see a Share Opportunities tab right here. If you yourself are hiring for a role, you can share that with the MTSU Connect community via this, or if you know someone who is, you can refer a role. And there are various different types of job types that you can search for or share. So even if it's like a board volunteer service or it's a job shadowing opportunity, this is a great opportunity for you to find people or find an opportunity for yourself. A couple other things that I want to point out is what your profile looks like. So this is an example of my profile. I would say that a few tips to make sure that you're leveraging the most out of MTSU Connect is definitely you want to have a profile photo. It makes you more approachable, and you're going to get better connections, I think. It will also, MTSU Connect will give you a few prompts here. As you can see, one of the things that it's telling me to do is to fill in the About Me section. So I would just click this little pencil here and say a little bit more about me, maybe something that isn't on my professional experience. So something I'm interested in outside of work or something unique to me. Another great thing here is that you can import your LinkedIn profile if you want to make them connect. And that way you're only updating your profile and your personal and professional experience in one place. And Tim will talk a little bit more about LinkedIn and how to leverage that next. So a couple other things that I want to make sure that you're aware of. In MTSU Connect, you can control your preferences. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that your notification settings are set up properly. So whenever you get a message or a meeting request on the platform, you will get a notification email in your main email box. So if you use Gmail or Outlook or whatever it is, you'll get an email there. You can also opt in for text messaging notifications, and you want to make sure that your settings are set just how you want them so that you're getting all those notifications. Next is availability. So if you are an alum or a faculty staff member who has opted into Connections, you will be able to monitor your availability on this screen. You can opt into unlimited number of connections per month, or you can narrow it down to 1 or 2, say you're really busy, and then after 2 people reach out to you on the platform, you will be hidden from future searches. Lastly, I'd love to touch on the calendar. So you can either sync your personal calendar to the MTSU Connect calendar, or you can provide specific times in which you would be available to meet with a mentor or a mentee and share experiences. And so that just really helps prevent the back and forth when trying to schedule things. So these are some great ways to leverage MTSU Connect. Like I said before, this is a very intentional part in your job search where you're finding people who are interested in connecting. You have a shared experience with them. You all are from MTSU. You're all members of the Blue Raider community, so you can find ways to connect with them and start initiating the conversations. Right now, I'm going to transition over to Tim, who's going to talk about LinkedIn and how you can leverage LinkedIn during your job search.
Everyone, I'm Tim, also a career advisor here in the MTSU Career Development Center. So I'm going to share my screen real quick so we can look at my LinkedIn. All right, so with LinkedIn, this is obviously, it's not an MTSU resource like we've been talking about. This is for everyone. There are many, many people out there on this. Also, we're going to be talking about some features that are pretty similar to some of the MTSU features on those resources that we've talked about already. But when we talk about spinning your web, you want that web to be as broad as possible so you can find a job, so you can make connections, and just utilize all the resources that you can. So that's why we're talking about LinkedIn. But first off, when it comes to LinkedIn, the obvious thing that you have to do is create your profile. So if you don't have one already, make sure you start building up your profile. If you do have one, build it up even more. The more information you put on there, the more beneficial LinkedIn is going to be for you in your job search. So on the profile, we could talk about building a profile all day and what makes it look really good to people who are visiting your page. But make sure, Blair said with MTSU Connect, make sure you have a great profile picture that makes you seem approachable and professional. Put in an about section that quickly describes what kind of professional you are and what you're looking for. Attach your resume, put in your previous work experience, education, describe those experiences. Again, the more information you're putting on LinkedIn, the more beneficial it's going to be for you. So yeah, if you want to talk more about building your profile, go ahead and create an appointment with one of our career advisors. We'd love to talk a lot about that because we could talk about that all day. But anyway, with job search on LinkedIn, if you look here at the top at the toolbar, you're going to see a job little icon there. Click on that. You can search by title, skill, company, keyword, location. So it's very similar to other job searches you've seen. What's cool about LinkedIn is they give you recommendations based on the information on your profile. So again, another benefit of building up your profile. So these are my job recommendations based on the information I have there. So these can be helpful. Sometimes they're not so helpful. I have a special agent job here, which I don't know if that exactly fits what I'm looking for, but it's another place where you can maybe run into a job that you didn't know was out there. And then also you can set up some job alerts. So I think the easiest way to do this is if you search a company. I'm just going to put in Middle Tennessee State. Go to the company's page. On this left-hand side, you're going to see a tab that says jobs. Click on that. Scroll down. It's going to show you some recently posted ones, but click see all jobs. And then up here at the top, there's this little button you can click on and turn on your job alerts. You can receive them daily by email or just LinkedIn notifications, whatever your preference is. Set those up and it will notify you when other jobs are posted. All right, so that's kind of the job search. Pretty easy, self-explanatory on LinkedIn. Next thing I want to talk about is joining groups on LinkedIn. This is one of the coolest features I think about is on LinkedIn. So I'm going to go to my homepage, my newsfeed. On the left-hand side here, you're going to see some groups that I'm a part of. So, for example, I'm a part of the National Association of Colleges and Employers. Click on that page. This is their page. Up here, you can see there's almost 30 members in this group. That's a lot of people. And what's great about this is when you join this group and you're accepted into a group, you can actually direct message any of the other members in the group. So that opens up a lot of networking opportunity and connections for you. And also, another group let me see if I can find Network Nashville. You can also join groups that are in locations, and it's called Network Nashville. So there's people in there who are actually wanting to network with you. That's the purpose of the group. So, think about joining groups in your location, joining groups who are a part of your industry, whatever makes you join those groups so you can connect with more people. And then last feature I want to show you with LinkedIn is connecting with alumni. And obviously, we talked about this. You can do that through MTSU Connect as well. But if you go to the MTSU page, click alumni, which is right under jobs that we looked at earlier. You can see there's almost 100,000 alumni who have LinkedIn profiles. And it's another really big resource for you if you want to connect with somebody. So you can search, and this is the best part about it. You can search, if you want to find someone who had the same major as you. I'm just going to use exercise science as an example. It's pulled up about 1,500 people who have exercise science on their profile. So you can look through those, send connection requests, reach out to those people and connect with them. You can also search by company. So maybe you really want to work at Enterprise. Search Enterprise, 4,000 alumni come up who have Enterprise on their profile or work at Enterprise. And so just another really great way to spin your web, broaden your web, and hopefully make some more connections and maybe find some more jobs as well. So that's it for me, but I'm going to pass it on back to Kathy.
Thanks, Tim, and everyone. Would like to take a moment to remind you that you can type your questions in the Q&A box just by selecting Q&A at the bottom of your screen. And that way our panelists can answer questions while we're wrapping up. I would love to hear from you if you have anything to say. We will have a few minutes to go over big interview. What I'm going to do is share my screen and talk a little bit about staying organized at the same time. Just a moment, please. So I like to tell everyone I meet with, alumni and students, that a great functionality of the MTSU website is the A to Z directory, because we're going to give you a bunch of links, but if you're anything like me, it's difficult to keep track and you don't want to bookmark everything. So from any MTSU page, you go to mtsu.edu/career, you can select at the top the A to Z directory, and the staff directory, which is also another powerful tool to network with your previous faculty members. And on the A to Z directory, you'll see that you can go straight to the Alumni Association webpage, where you can, as an alum, link to Career Shift or webinar recordings, and the Career Development Center resources are all located here and under the C's for Career Development Center. So if you don't want to remember mtsu.edu/career or /alumni, just go from any web page. So we have talked about resources that are available to both alumni and students. And over here on the left navigation, you see for students, the services button, and for alumni, it looks very similar. Just our greeting here, welcome alumni, is a little bit different. And you'll notice the online free tools that are direct linked here include Handshake, Career Shift, and Big Interview. So now that so much of our work has gone virtual, that means a lot of recruiting is going virtual as well. So Big Interview is a virtual interview platform that is designed for practice. Students who are active in the system log in, create their Big Interview account with an MTSU email account. You'll see the steps right here. If you're an alumni who would like access to this system, I would ask that you either email myself or Becca to get the instructions. There's several different ways we can do that, but probably means that you'll need to reset a password through ITD for your MTSU credentials. Regardless, once you're in, you can see that we have a new artificial intelligence feature. Oh, are we back now? No? Yes? No? Can you see it? There we go. Okay, thank you, Blair. Blair's nodding her head. Okay, so in Big Interview, the artificial intelligence feature, this gives you an overview of what feedback you can get instantaneously through Big Interview mock interview program. I'm not going to try it right now. We're not going to record anything. What I think is really useful, in addition to the practice interview functionality, are the video lessons. So the Fast Track has several videos that I think are worthwhile. the overview, common questions, and you get the full menu over here on the right. You can also participate in quizzes if you want. What I want to make sure that you see is in the mastery track, even though those are 50 video lessons and nobody, I think, is going to watch all 50. Scrolling on down, it goes over overcoming nerves, how to sell yourself. So that really is a lot about tell me about yourself, acing the common interview questions, behavioral interview questions, and playbooks for common challenges. So that talks about everything from behavioral based interviewing to how to craft your tell me about yourself statement, which is really important. We also call that your branding statement, because that's the same language you would use on your LinkedIn profile, on your resume to introduce yourself, and in an informational or job interview to kick off the conversation, because inevitably you're going to get asked or told to tell me about yourself. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen to give us a minute to look at Q&A and chat. I'll pause briefly if we need anything. No, looks like we're good. Another great reminder here is that although a lot of our platforms and capabilities have similar functionality, each platform has nuances that make it different. And so just like you're going to have a preference in how you present yourself on your resume and profiles, same thing. You'll have a preference with the platforms and which one works best for you. Really, the first thing to consider is, what is your goal? Your outcome or your goal is going to define how you use the platforms and what you engage in the most. I have students ask all the time about sending cold emails or reaching out via MTSU Connect and LinkedIn. And I like to phrase it that we have warm connections and cool connections and cold connections. And so, if you're reaching out to someone via MTSU Connect or Handshake, those are warm connections because they have opted in to communicate with our university. All right, so things like LinkedIn and Career Shift are great places to source those cool connections. And then, of course, a cold connection would just be a blind email to someone. We know, though, that making those human connections is really the key to leverage your job search. So in terms of level setting and staying organized, we know it's a great idea to schedule or set aside a certain amount of time every day. Your full-time job search should be like a full-time job. And I say to schedule some time every day because I don't believe any of us would have the capability to do 6, 7, 8 hours of job search activity in one day. So if you schedule that in 2-hour increments, it's a lot more digestible to manage your energy and motivation. Also, as you customize your documents and outreach to employers, such as a cover letter, we encourage you to save those in a special folder and include in the name of the document the name of the employer. That way, when you do get a call back, you can quickly access what you've already shared with them. And then over time, you can reflect on how, for example, your first resume doesn't look anywhere near as good as your 25th, right? So it's a great way to track your progress over time and have quick access to that information. A simple way to stay organized with spinning your web is just to create a spreadsheet. And we like to use that strategy with the targeted job search. So you list, for example, column number 1 is the company you contacted. Column 2 would be the first person you reached out to. Column 3, the date. And you give that person a few days. And if you don't get a response, then just move on to the next person. Also, my favorite tip, and the staff laughs at me because I get really excited about talking about pad folios. I feel like we just forget to mention this so often. A great way to stay organized and prepared for an informational interview, a networking event such as a career fair, or a job interview is to always have a pad folio ready to go. And those are the professional folders that you see. Some have a closure flap, some have the zip around, where it will be a faux or actual leather. And on one side, you're going to have a pocket where you can store physical copies of your resume. And on the other side, a legal pad where you can take notes or have notes already prepared. there must be a pen loop. You need that writing instrument to go with you. And what you can do in preparing for formal conversations, such as an interview, is use the pad to write down the questions that you know you want to ask. And then that way you're not investing any energy in trying to remember what you want to ask. You can invest that energy into truly engaging in the conversation and making a human connection. I'm going to pause again to see if Becca has any questions that have come across that we need to answer publicly or in the chat.
Kathy, a question about how people schedule appointments with us.
Great question. So current students schedule those the same way you do with an academic advisor. For alumni, what you can do is email directly myself or Becca, and I know that Becca has her appointment availability active in Handshake. And so if you go to Handshake, you can schedule an appointment with Becca, and we know you're going to be on Handshake anyway. Right? So from our homepage, if you, the mtsu.edu/career, for very recent alumni and students, on the right, you'll see a button that says schedule appointment. And then again, alumni can use Handshake, or you can send an email directly to me, and we will get you in as soon as possible. Anything else? Okay, great. So I think in closing, I want to issue a challenge to really drive home the point that human connection leverages your efforts. My challenge to you is that you don't ever apply to an online job posting in which you're not simultaneously introducing yourself via email to a person in that company. That's a great way to make connection, number one. And number two, get in the habit. And what we mean in email intro can just be 3 sentences. Definitely don't make it paragraphs long. Nobody's going to read that. But an intro email can be very brief. And keep in mind that people who've opted in to Handshake and MTSU Connect and LinkedIn have all said, yes, I want to connect with other humans. And so we can take that fear right out of the mix, because we know that people want to engage with other people. And in my opinion, now more than ever, because we've all been so isolated.
Great. Thank you so much, Kathy. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for your time today. If you have some last minute questions, please go ahead and add those into the question and answer box. This is an opportunity to get those questions answered. As you were listening today, all the resources that we have talked about are available on the 2 websites on your screen, either through the Career Center or the Alumni. All right, a great question. Can we re-watch this? Yes, we have recorded this presentation today, and we will make it available. We will close caption it. So give us about 24 hours, and then it will be available on the Career Development Center's website as well as the Alumni Center website. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And please let us know how we can be of assistance to you. Thank you, and have a great day.